Hello, everyone, and welcome to my universe. So, here we are, and indeed, I did indeed want to pick out some good references for how to shade the shirt here. I severely underestimated just how thick the folds in silk shirts are. I figured that they'd be, more like the thin cloth. But I forgot something else kind of important about shading, and that was that how tight the fabric is as well. Silk shirts tend to be very, very loose. I actually very rarely see any that are tight at all, and as a result, they're going to have much more draping and flowing folds. And not to mention that they're also a little bit more like metal in the sense that the difference between the light areas and the dark areas is actually quite huge. the difference between light areas and midtones are pretty small, and the shadows are pretty diffuse, which I was a little surprised at. But the difference between those midtone areas and the dark areas, for the most part, are actually very, very strong. They don't blend nicely. There is some pretty big edges there. So, I'm gonna kind of change up how I shaded the shirt there. I also kind of want to revisit the metal. Speaking of things that are like metal, metal is also very much like metal, as you might expect. So I want to kind of revisit some of these, because, I don't know, it just doesn't feel shiny enough. And that's just a crime. So, I'll want to fix that. So these kinds of folds here, they imply that everything is quite tight, and that doesn't fit with silky stuff. So that's probably why it looked really wrong to me. This is where having proper references is very useful, and all I did was Google silk shirt and look at how it looked in real life. So I don't have anything for the specific pose or anything. It doesn't really matter very much. I just wanted to see how light interacted with it all. Because after all shadows really are, all these things really are, is just light. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo a bunch of what I did last time. I think this is probably fine. Let me go find a silk shirt with some buttons and see if it is as fine as I think it is. Let's see, I don't picture this being particularly sheer or anything. It looks like I might want to make the side that does not come apart. So right now, I have this as such that there's like a side where it's sewn into the shirt, and then a side where it would come apart when you take it off or when you're buttoning it together and that kind of thing. Right now I have them looking about the same. I don't think I should do that. Let me see. So which way do these things open? That's important. Looks like on the left side. So that would be our right. No. Look, dyslexia is hard, okay? But no, it's on our right. It opens on our right. So, this side. So that'll be the side that I keep darker, and then this I'll tone that shadow back considerably. I still want it to be there, but not that thick and not that strong. There we go. Something like that's a little better. And then this side, I can make just a little darker. I might even want it a little bit darker than this. I can probably just set the brush to multiply and then get the color I want like that. Yeah, that should be good. I don't want to overdo it. But like I said, the difference between light and shadow on these is actually a lot stronger than I thought it would be. It's kind of crazy. It really is. But yes, even though I want to revisit some of the gold parts, this was the part that I spent the most time researching. So I'd like to start with this silk shirt. It sounds like this that I wish I had more hands, so I could work on more spots at once, but alas. I can only do one thing at a time. I still hate that. I still hate that I can only do one thing at a time. I want to do all the things. And actually, this part that I kind of ended up getting accidentally here, I think looks great for how I think the texture of a silk shirt should be. So I'm going to kind of emphasize that a little bit more. We're going to put more little folds like that, where it's kind of digging into the suit here. And I think that those kinds of folds will look really good. I actually really like this already. I might add a few more. Let's add a little big fold right here. Let me go look at my references again. How do they move around? How do they interact with, like, where the buttons are? How do the buttons pull on them? Not very strongly, actually. I'm a little surprised. Okay. So, in that case, let me think about how this is actually draping over her chest. So, it's coming down here, and then it's gonna start bunching up down near the bottom here. And it's probably gonna pull a little bit toward the middle, since this outer part of the suit is a little bit tight around her. It's probably tighter than the silk shirt would be on its own, so we're gonna get, you know, some stuff like I was doing there. So maybe something like this. This fold is fine. I'm just gonna leave that one. And I think this is okay too. But I want to add a few lighter areas. For the shadow part on the lower part of her chest here, I'll just use the main color. But for the rest, I think I'm gonna need a new color because the highlight color I have on the cape, I don't think is light enough. It needs to be a little bit closer to white. But yeah, I don't want to overblend the folds there, like I said. They almost reminded me of metal and just how they blend. I think this is good. So let's add some of that light that I was talking about there. Where do I think the light will hit this? I think we're probably getting a little bit through the arm, but not much. So I'll just do something like this. And I'll let a little fold or something like that kind of come through. Maybe through here too. I think this is already looking way more like a silk shirt than what I had before, so I am pleased. I'm quite pleased. There we go. Kind of want this one to blend just a little bit more here, just because of where it is. Not here, just here. Okay, there we go, and I think that'll be fine. So I'm gonna take my highlight color that I had before, and I am going to... let's try color dodge. Will that get me something bright enough? That might be a little bit too saturated, but I do like how light it is. Let's see. Will screen do better? Screen tends to be a little bit less saturated. Yes, but it's a little bit too bright. It was a little bit too much. There we go. I think that'll be a pretty good color for the highlights. Fortunately, the references that I picked, there just happened to be one that was red. It's a little bit of a darker red than the one that I'm using, but it was actually real close. I was surprised. So I have a very good frame of reference for this. And I think I just want to do something kind of like this, just over here. Just because I do think most of this is in shadow, just because we got the neck thing sitting on top of it. And then I can go and put back the shadows from the neck thing and all that. Since I was messing around with some stuff, they gotta come back. And I do picture the neck thing kind of sitting on her chest, so the shadow will be quite close to it and very tight. Right up against it. Do a little bit more down here as well. Just get it all going. Okay, for a second there I thought that I still had my brush set to an improper blend mode, but no. I'm just hallucinating. Don't worry about it, it happens. Now this part down here, after it kind of trails off from the top part of the chest down to the lower part, I actually do picture things down here being a little bit further away. So, I'm gonna draw the shadow a little bit further away, especially on this side. This side just looks like it's floating up, and I kind of like it, so we'll let it do that. I'll have to redraw this line here, but that's fine. I can do that. And I'll just go from there. And until it all looks the way that I want. I might add a little bit of a light area just over on that side too. I don't know. It feels lonely. I think I mentioned before that the highlights actually did blend pretty nicely. So I want to make sure that they're nice and blended in. They were much softer than the shadows, which surprised me. But you know, a lot of things surprise me when I go up and look up references. That's why I have to look up the references. And that's why they're so helpful. I can tell you a lot. It helps me figure out what it is that I'm actually trying to draw here. Very useful. Very, very useful. Okay, and then I'll just fix this line right here. And I think that is much better than what I had before. The shirt looks a lot softer, I think. I don't really have a lot of room for some shiny stuff. Maybe in my next pass I'll do a little bit of reflected light down here at the bottom. Mostly this side. But I think that's out of scope for this first pass. I think this kind of captures the texture of it decently well. So, let's go ahead and make the gold shinier. I mean, even this one, which actually does have some shiny parts, feels insufficiently shiny. And like I said, that's just a crime. I cannot accept this. So, I'm gonna go look up some references again. Gold rose. Hell yeah. Okay, I think... Man, some of those shadows can get really dark. That might actually be why it doesn't look shiny enough. I might not have dark enough shadows. Because I was looking at it, and I'm like, I don't know. Well, I don't think I can make these highlights any brighter. True. But that's the funny thing about contrast, is that you can get it either by making areas lighter or making areas darker. So, it makes sense that maybe I would want to make certain areas darker. And then I think the other problem is that they're not reflecting anything around it. And that lack of reflection might also be really hurting me. But first, let's just start with by making some areas much darker. So I had these in the middle here, this really, really dark brown. I'm gonna zoom in so I can like get the darkest pixel here, just to make sure I get the right color. Yeah, right there should be good. Okay. And then I want to add... Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. I want to add some dark spots to these gold areas. So I'll add a few more, just in the deepest recesses of the shadows. I actually like this already. Okay. You know, sometimes it is that easy. So this is gonna basically be occlusion shadows. Just the areas where I feel like little to no light touches. I don't want to overdo it. I say that a lot, but I am very prone to overdoing things. I know my nature very well. So I'm trying to be careful. It's important to be careful. Okay. But I like this. I like it already. So I'll just add a little bit more darkness in these darkest of areas. And I might add a little bit more light to this side. Just a little. Just a tiny, tiny bit, especially right here. The transition is a little sudden, I think. Okay, that's going to be a little bit too dark for that area, but I do think I could use a shadow like this. Yeah. Just this kind of shadow. It's still pretty dark. It's just not quite as dark. And I think that's appropriate for an area that's a little bit more in the light. Also, I have to say that every time I talk like this, I think it amuses me, because I've been reading The Wheel of Time. And they say phrases like that all the time with what is effectively religious significance. So I'm just like, yes, walk in the light. Okay, does that feel a little shinier? A little. It feels a little shinier. I have to decide if I want to attempt reflections right now, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get it sufficiently shiny without them. Let me go ahead and add a few more light areas first, and then I can think about some reflections. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make this really, really shiny without some reflections. And I'll get it right on this one before I go and do the other ones, I think. Let's use this one as kind of science and see what I can figure out. And then after that, I can take the knowledge that I get on this one and move it around. You know, maybe I should have done some of the areas that are not this close to her face first as science, but yeah, it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll be totally fine. And I know I use pure white highlights in a few places. Okay, since this part is under the vine, I think I'm actually going to make it a little darker. Let's put a few shadows on that area under the vine as well. Okay, feeling a little shinier. I think I would like a few more of just my ordinary shadow color areas. And here I'm going to use the airbrush again, because I do want them to diffuse just a little. But I have thoughts. I have some thoughts of just a few things I observed when looking at gold. Mostly just... yeah, here's a little bit of reflections and stuff. I'm not quite sure how to explain exactly what I was doing there, but I did find that it was pretty common for gold to have this darkest part of the shadow right next to the highlights in the areas that as it turns, and then it gets a little bit lighter as you get over here. I think it's probably to do with reflections. I think all that should be fine. So now I have to decide how I want to handle some reflective surface. Because I think if I just paint red on this, it won't quite work. And then this area would get a little bit more white, I guess. I'll see what happens. Some of the skin tone throughout here. I'm feeling dangerous, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it right away and not make a new layer. I like feeling a little dangerous sometimes. Okay. I don't know, did it help? A little, I guess? Does it still look insufficiently shiny? I'm gonna go poke at those shadows a little bit more. The really, really dark ones. Can I just let it come out a little? I don't know what I'm doing, but that's okay. I can still try to draw it. The only way to figure out how to draw it is to actually try, so here we go. Okay, that might actually look shiny once I put the shadows back on proper. This one definitely doesn't look shiny, and this one I think probably only needs reflected light. I don't really want this one to look quite as shiny. I want it to kind of sit there in the corner and be out of the way. So, that's what's gonna happen to that one. But let's try to get these guys a little bit shinier now. Oh wow, this guy didn't have any of the dark shadows. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. There is the belt buckle. Here we go. So this one didn't have any of the dark shadows. No wonder it didn't look shiny. So that probably means that its lights are okay. Since this guy is gonna be just more in shadow. Okay. So... what do we have here? I think this already looks a bit better. I might be going a little bit too hard on some of this, but... I think it'll be okay. We'll find out. Let's find out together. But I think it makes sense to go pretty hard on this side, since that side is very much in shadow. Or over here, I'm going to be a lot more sparing with it. I'll probably put a few in, unlike up there where I put none on that side. Just because this entire thing is far more in shadow than the bits up there. Like I said, I'm kind of using these as just basic occlusion, where I'm just hitting the areas that I don't think the light comes in at all. So we got some places like this. Don't worry, this will make sense someday. I'm gonna go hide my trim because it is in the way. There we go. Now it is no longer in the way. And all is well. Alright. Is that not where one comes in? Oh, it's because I have trim on top again. I need to get rid of the other trim too. Yeah, that's right. This area changed a lot. I'm gonna have to clean up the trim around it. Actually, I think these ones are fine. Like that. But I do want to get all these little guys hiding in the shadows here. Make sure that they have all the dark areas that they need to be extra shiny. Yes. Okay. So, you know, I'm gonna diffuse it just a little bit on that side again. And I want up here to be a little bit darker. So let's see, where's the dark shadow? Here we are. Yeah, here we go. There we go. So I'm gonna do that kind of pattern again. This one I don't think will reflect the belt very strongly, since they are about the same color. But I will put some black on various things in various places. Okay. So let's see here. Kind of want to pull this part back just a little. I think it's a little bit too strong there. I think the really dark shadow there is just a little bit too big. There we go. Yeah, I think that should work. So, let's go see about making some of these areas just a little bit shinier too. So that'll probably involve just a few areas that are just a little bit lighter. Is that gonna be light enough? I want a slightly lighter color. Maybe I'll just take that one. Just some areas that I think are facing the light just a little bit more strongly. But I want to be very, very sparing with it. Like I said, most of this in shadow. I don't want to be making areas too light. And then we can put a few more shadows from the vine there. Okay. How does this feel? Is it shinier now? Yeah, I'd say that looks a little shinier. Okay, let's get some of the reflections in there. So this one's going to be reflecting like the black of the suit and stuff. So I'll want to be kind of careful with that. I'll let it reflect on this side. Just whatever side I think is pointing a little bit more toward the suit. We'll put a few little black reflections on it. So, because something kind of like this. I think maybe using the airbrush is actually not a good idea, just for this spot specifically. I thought it worked fine with the red, but with the black it just kind of looks like mud. So I'm gonna use my harder brush. See if that looks a little bit better. It's too strong. 50%. Yeah, there we go. And then on areas where I wanted to reflect a little more strongly, I can just paint over a couple of times. And that'll all work out. So let's get some little reflections here. And see if that also makes things just a little bit more shiny. Just a little. That's the hope. I think it's helping. Then I'll do the buttons and then we'll get some reflections for that guy. I'm happy that the one over there mostly looks fine though. And I think all that's fine. Okay, are you shinier? Maybe a little. Buttons. These guys I don't think I'm going to do quite as much with. They're small, they're like really tiny. So I don't think that these little details will be quite as visible. So I just kind of want to keep it simple. I'm just going to add some of these dark areas here. I do think that this will help. And then we'll do just a little bit of reflection. And that should honestly do it. They're small. Any further detailing I think would be wasted. But the shadows are definitely helping. So those at the very least are very much worth doing. Let's see what we got here. Just a few more dark areas, and then maybe just a little bit of black in some key areas. Just try to get a few little bits of reflection in there. But I don't think I need to do a lot with it. Just a little, just enough to make it look a little black. There we go. I do think they look a little shinier, so I'll take it. I'm not quite sure how to get the, like, net part around it looking really shiny, though. Alright. Head back up to the hair over here. And there's the hair tie. We'll take a little bit of red from here. And I'll paint some red where I think it's strongly facing a red spot. So that's mostly over here. I think most of this is pretty directly facing red. There it's facing more white. Since it's gonna be reflecting the color of her hair more so than the color of the skirt there. Okay, so let's go find a nice white. I think I'm using the same color for the hair here. So I'll just grab it from there and we'll put a few little bits of reflected white here and there. Let's see, I think it probably reflects a little bit through there, but not a lot. Definitely a lot through here, though. This is going to have all kinds of white on it. I could probably reflect a little bit of black back, too, if I wanted, but I think the white looks better, so I'm just going to roll with that. Okay, and I think that's probably good. That actually did make it look a lot shinier, so cool. Okay. So with that... stretch. I think I could get back into what I planned to do today, and that is arms and hands. I'll start with this one, because it's a little bit less complicated. I kind of want the trim back, though, since it's such an important part of the sleeve. Just have to remember where I put it. Here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure that there's no trim overlapping on these. I think at this point I can trust what I have drawn there, so I should be safe to just delete everything that's overlapping there. And yeah, there we go. Looks pretty okay to me. Yeah, I like it. Okay. So, I guess I'll start with this arm. This being a suit, I don't picture the cloth being like super thick. I don't know if it makes sense for it to be wool or some other thing. Some other really thick cloth like that, but it's okay. We'll see what kind of thing that I just kind of end up doing, and I think whatever I do will mostly be fine. As long as I'm really thinking about what I'm trying to convey. There should be more shadow here. Normally I like to do the cast shadows last, but I didn't put a cast shadow here at all, so I'm just gonna fix that first. Okay, so this side, I want to be harder around the edge than this side. This side will get to be a lot softer. And like I said, not gonna worry about the cast shadow from the cape either. I might do just a few things, like when it comes to folds, I think having little bumps on cast shadows like that actually look really good. So I might add a few things like that where appropriate. But for the most part, those are for later. Okay. So, just time to go through, kind of clean up what I already drew. This side will be softer. And the other side. And I think that should be fine. And it's just a matter of going over everything again. Trying to decide where I think the folds are really digging into things and where they're just more sitting there, I guess. Where they're just more gently hanging out. Okay. So just something like that. I think over here might not be quite right, but that's also a cast shadow where it kind of blurs the line between cast shadow and not. So I'm gonna figure out how to handle that once it's time to handle the cast shadows. Alright. So I think this area is gonna be particularly dark and hard. So I'm gonna do something like this where I don't kind of diffuse the edges very much. Up here, I think it'll be softer. And here, this is where I see the turn, where it goes down into the elbow happening. So I'll just draw something like that. And you get a feel for stuff like this just by drawing many a thing. I have drawn many clothes. And unless it's a material I'm not super familiar with, like the silk shirt up there, I can pretty much do it without thinking about it too hard. I don't have to look up references every single time anymore. I still do sometimes. But it's not quite as important as it used to be. Oops, wrong color. So here I can just kind of go. Unfortunately, rendering stuff like this is kind of brain dead sometimes. So there's only so much I can talk about. Because I just take an area, I smooth it out, then it looks good and I'm happy. And then I do the next area. And you just kind of go from there. Sometimes I ask myself, do I actually know what I'm doing? And I don't know, kinda, sometimes. Only sometimes, I'd say. But I can kind of fake it, and for art, that's enough. It's just a matter of making people believe what you're putting down. That's all you really gotta do. Make people believe. So that's what makes the wishy-washy, kind of blurry line so dangerous. Because it doesn't inspire confidence. It doesn't make you look like you know what you're doing. So even if you don't know what you're doing, as long as you can convince people that you do, it'll be fine. Hello there, Protox. Welcome back. Okay, let's see. How do I think this fold should go? Let's see. I kinda am not entirely satisfied with how it's bunching. I can't tell if I should make it softer or harder. I think for this one, it might actually make more sense for it to be softer. So let's try to get a nice gradation in there. I'll just let it fade to nothing, where over here is a little bit more hard. I think that'll... Let's find out. If I'm wrong, I'll just draw it again, so it's okay. Not that hard to get a nice gradation. Krita's airbrush is good for it. I like it a lot. Very helpful. Oh no. I'm doing pretty well today. Drawing a thing, and you know, that's always a great time. I like this picture. I think it's going really well. I'm really looking forward to finishing it. We'll see how long it takes me to finish the other half, too. Sometimes I just get that feeling of, oh no, this is only half of it. The other half, I haven't really even started yet. But I'm pretty sure I'll be able to steal a lot of what I've been doing here for the other half, so it won't be so bad. Okay. Yeah, I like this. So not super hard, but definitely harder on this side, and then very soft on this side. I think that's perfect. Okay. Alright, let's see how that's looking so far. Not bad. I think I'm gonna hide the trim for a second because I think it's throwing off how I see things. Oh man, but that kind of does too. Oh well, it's okay. I'll do it like this for now. And this time I think I'm gonna stay out at 100%. And just make sure that everything is blended the way that I want it to be. I'm gonna let this one kind of extend outward. Yeah. Let it kind of fade out just a little bit more. Okay. So I want this side to be a little bit softer. I kind of want it to really fade out just a little bit more there. Okay. This guy definitely needs a little bit more softness through here. Just a little. Over here, I think is fine. Half the reason it looks kind of messed up right now is because I'm not doing the cast shadows yet. And there's a lot of cast shadows up there. So it's gotta look a little messed up until I'm ready for that. So I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna get the lower part of the arm here looking the way I want before I worry about anything else. Fortunately, right now, I think some of the folds are looking just a little bit too thick. So I'm thinking about how to make them appear just a little bit thinner. The cloth texture, that is. I think they're looking just a little bit thicker than I want them to in a few places. Maybe I am diffusing it too much. Let me go look at a suit. I was just saying that I don't really need to look at suits anymore, but I am finding myself a little bit unsatisfied, so let's see. What am I doing? What am I doing? That's where references can kind of help you out here. Okay, no, I think I've probably got it about right. Yeah, maybe a little bit too soft, but it's actually not that far off. Okay. Let me see. How does that actually go? All right. Okay, so I think I have a good idea of what I want to try. I think it's just this side. That's a little bit too blended. I just over blended this part over here specifically. Whereas the parts over here I think are fine, and then over here I think they should also be a little bit harder, where they kind of meet up at the edge of the arm, and then they get a little bit softer as you go out. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting somewhere now. Still just using the airbrush for it, because you can actually get pretty decently hard edges with it if you press hard. And that's very convenient. It means I don't have to be switching constantly. Okay. So let's make this transition from the hard edge into the soft edge just a little bit nicer there, and yeah, I think that's fine. So let's go deal with the cast shadows now, just so that all that can stop looking funny. So we have a big cast shadow here. Another fairly large one here. And all of this is... It's still going to be pretty hard edge. Most cast shadows are. Especially when they're this close. But at least as long as I use the airbrush to do it, it won't be just quite so stark. You can see that even a fairly hard edge with an airbrush, or with Krita's airbrush at least, it has a little bit more color variation in there. Then I can do nice things like that at the bottom. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's good. Let's put the trim back on, and I'll just handle all that now before I get into the... Okay. So, first things first. Gotta blend everything. I'm gonna try to keep it fairly similar to how I handled the suit itself, in terms of which areas have a hard edge and which ones have a soft edge. But everything will be just a little bit softer since this is, you know, gonna be made up of a million little threads. Just a million little threads. Then I have to decide if I want to get this part too. But this part is going to be like entirely differently textured. So I'm not going to do that part yet. I've convinced myself. Just needed to think about it for like 2 seconds and the answer became clear. Alright. Let's go. So is that the color I want to use? I don't know, I kind of liked it better when I used the purple. Yeah, I kind of like it better when I use the purple. So now we just add a lot of little lines. I don't like those ones. Those ones were kind of awful. There we go. That's better. Just a lot of little lines. And then after that, we do a lot of little highlight lines. And I do try to be a little thicker with it in the shadows. Add a few more of the shadowed variety. And I think this could actually benefit from a few highlights. I don't think I want to do the highlights right now, though. Because it's not quite like the silk shirt where I added the highlight here. Like, that was very particular. Because I know that for the highlighted areas, I could add a highlight on top of that highlight and it would look good. But here, I'm not so convinced. So I'd rather do that once I'm doing a little bit more of just the global light and stuff. So you'll just have to take my word for it for now. But don't worry, I assure you, I'm very trustworthy. It'll look good once I get there. Okay. So we go around. And I can already tell that I'm going to have to be very careful erasing a few of these areas because these lines are very, very thin. I like them, though. I like the way this pattern turned out. I think it's pretty cool. Also, it was funny, for different reasons, I was looking at Spanish traditional clothing again. And I had forgotten how ridiculously Spanish I made this. I'm not surprised. I do greatly enjoy traditional Spanish fashion. I think it's very pretty. But I just think it's funny how... Oh, no wonder. I got set back to normal. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, fortunately, I was wondering why certain areas just weren't painting the way that I wanted. Okay, let me go over the shadows one more time then. Anyway, about Spanish fashion. Yeah, I had forgotten that they did patterns like this on the sleeves, specifically like what I just did here without really thinking about it. And I know that was just a thing that they did often. And I also remember for the leg, one of the patterns that I considered, I'll just erase this right away after I draw it, but I considered having something like this. And yeah, that's very much how the pants looked. And how they did. I ended up not going with that one, but it was still an idea I had, and I thought it was funny. Alright, let's get the highlights in. Your influences will crop up in your art, whether you like it or not. Okay. So then after this, it'll just be a few lines of shadows and highlights, and then I just need to rough up the edge a little bit. And that'll go a long way in making things look more thread-like. Okay, there we go. Let's zoom in and get the little shadows in there. Always takes a minute, but it's fine. It helps. It's the kind of thing that I don't know if most people will notice, but I assure you, they will feel it in their hearts. So we just add a little shadow around the edges here. Add just the tiniest bit of depth. And we go up and around. Gotta be real careful on these thin ones, though. They get a little bit less just because I literally, physically cannot put more on them. It is not possible. They are too small. Gotta be very sparing. But I do want to get a little bit there. And I have to remember that on this side, the light is more coming from this side. Since she's backlit. So I will be shading like that accordingly. She doesn't look backlit right now, but, you know, once again, you just gotta take my word for it. She will be. And it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. I am so excited to do the lighting for this one. Alright. And now the little bit of highlight. That's a bit too small in the brush there. There we go. So, but once again, still very sparing. Don't want to put it in too many places. The other highlights were more just for color variation, but these are true highlights. So I want to be careful with them. Okay, and then we go through here. And up and around here. I don't want to leave you on color dodge because I will forget. There we go. And now it is just time to rough up the edges a little. Gotta beat them up just a little bit. And I should do this at 100%, otherwise I will totally get lost in the details. My nose is itchy. Yes, of course it is. I'm streaming. How could it not be itchy when I'm streaming? Okay. There we go. Rough up those edges a little. Just a little. Okay. And I gotta be careful in those thin ones. I'm really tempted to zoom in for the really thin ones, but I'm gonna exercise restraint. And not. Some of those thin ones, I wonder if it'd be better if I just made the edge a little bit rougher by making it thicker. Instead of thinner like this. But whatever, this works. These are just idle musings I do not intend to actually test. I've been feeling like drawing more again lately. So I might start working on some more stuff off stream. Or maybe I'll just gorilla stream, I don't know, man. We'll see what I feel like doing this week. But we'll see if, you know, once again I'm just like, you know, maybe I'll do another art stream this week. That sounds like fun. And then I start programming and I'm like, oh, you know what, this is fun too. Let's keep going. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that I've been working on programming-wise hasn't really been stuff that I think would be good for streaming. Because it's a lot of me mauling over math that I barely understand. So... and then just being like, okay, how does this actually work? Google, help. That's the great thing. I mean, sometimes I think people feel like they have to know everything before they can actually start doing something. And no. No, you don't. Okay, there we go. That looks fantastic. This is gonna look really good with just a few extra highlights. I just don't want to do them yet. So, let's go ahead and go into the sleeve. That's gonna be a little less complicated. Because this is gonna have about the same texture as the rest of the suit. So, that will be pretty easy, because, I don't know, the rest of the suit was honestly pretty straightforward. Okay. And hopefully here I don't have to go in and do the trim immediately. I can just gently blend this and it'll all be fine. Let's make this hole just a little thicker here. Man, I just put this entire thing in shadow, huh? I think it's probably correct, but does it look good? Looking good is way more important than being right. You see, that's one thing I found. One thing that I learned very much from playing team-based games on the internet. Where even if you are correct, even if your call is objectively correct, it's better to do what's more likely to make you win. Okay, yeah, that's good. I think that's about all that little cuff needs. Let's see. I'm gonna have to decide what kind of texture I wanted on the gloves here. Like, my thought was cotton gloves, but does it make more sense for them to be silk gloves? That's kind of the question here. It would be a nice little mirror for the shirt. I wasn't initially planning on that. No, I think they should still be cotton. I think having a light down there would be weird. So, yeah, we'll keep them cotton. Okay. Anyway, I need to shade this first. Okay, so I'm gonna try to remember what the hell I was going for here. Because right now I kind of don't. I think something like this will work. I think when it comes down to it, I just made that line too straight. I'm actually going to redraw that a little bit. So if we have a fold, do and fold things like this, then let's see, how is this going to sink into that fold? So I think it's going to come down a little bit more like this, which will mean that the light area here comes out just a little bit more. And I think this will go down like that a bit more. We'll once again bring this down just a little bit more. And I'll fix the lighting on it in just a sec. Okay, and then I can take this and push it down just a little. And then I just take the white trim and move this down just a little. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, cool. It didn't even take that much to fix it. I'm glad that I did that before I worked on the hand, though. I would have been sad if I had to redo the shadows here. Okay. Oh, there we go. Just a little light there. And that looks fine. Let's go make it look like thread. Okay. I don't like how dark that is. I want it to be a little bit lighter. So let's drop that back down to 50%. There we go. Because now when I paint over it, I get a little bit more variation. And that's what's really important for this part that I'm doing here. It's not really about certain other things. It's all just about color variation and stuff. Oh, yes. It is another art stream. I do an art stream every Saturday. So if you come on Saturday, it will be art stream. Thursday will always be programming stream for the foreseeable future. And Friday will be game stream. Again, for the foreseeable future. But yes, welcome back. And truly, I am honored to be background music for drawing. I think it's fantastic. Let's see, do I have my light color? There we are. Just doing a little bit of texturing now. As I gradually go through and render all this. There's a lot. Okay. Back over here. And back to shadow color and multiply to just add a little bit more depth to the threads. And I just do the same thing every time I need to do the little thready trim. Okay, there we go. And now to color dodge with the light color, and we just put in little highlights on the top. Makes it look very round. And I always feel like threads sewn into something like this should look extremely round. They're better when they're a little bit round. Okay. And now to rough up the edges. Gotta beat them up just a little. Otherwise I don't look right. Need a teeny tiny brush for it. And we go pop, 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 pop. Cave them in just a little bit. Okay. And then I can just get into the hand. Let's see. Is there... Yeah, I've already done everything else further up. At least what I want to do for this pass. Except this arm, I guess. This arm will be after I do this arm. I guess I can only draw one arm at a time still, unfortunately. Okay, and then for this part here, what I actually want to rough up is the trim layer. No, that's not working. I'll just do it here then. Well, we'll let a little gold show through, it's fine. There we go. Okay. Stretch. Let's go get that hand. Fortunately, I have it all pretty well defined. I actually think it looks pretty good right now. So, I think all I really need to do is blend it. So, let's go do that. I'm a little afraid of this hand, but I think it'll be okay. I don't think it looks bad. I'm not sure if it makes sense, but I think I can make it work. and then we'll be revisiting Frill Hell again. Oh boy. I've always said, once you enter Frill Hell, you never really leave it. It just keeps coming back to haunt you forever and ever. Alright, so first I want to get those fingers. Because I just want that little color change where they turn to vanish into nothing. Oh, thank you. I've been working really hard on them. They're a little bit time consuming, so I'm always really happy to hear that they look good. I really like drawing clothes. I think it's so much fun. Okay, so yeah, there we go. And now that they are blended, I can kind of get these darker areas more. So for the most part, I like to go back and forth in order to blend colors like this. But since the fingers are two colors, I'm gonna focus more on blending the shadow part. Occasionally I will have to, just switch colors all the time, and it is what it is. But the more I can do with just the shadow color, the easier time I will have. I want to get this fold, just right. I think this one's actually really important to show that the pinky is kind of overlapping part of her hand a little bit. It makes sense, I think. I was just talking about earlier how, you know what, it's not that important that it actually makes sense, as long as I can convince everyone it makes sense. And I think I can do that much with this kind of shape. Okay, now we're getting into some glove folds, where it kind of deviates from the shape of the hand. I want to finish the finger. I want to finish the finger before I do that. These guys, I want to keep it pretty soft, but also a little bumpy because it's a glove. So I do want there to be some slight signs of folds here, but they should be pretty small. Just a little thing like that around the joints I think is plenty. And in usual me fashion, I only drew 2 joints. It's actually pretty rare that I draw all 3. I find it's pretty rare that the hand pose needs to have all 3. Here we go. Let's just blend in all the fingers, because that's super easy. Just acknowledge the little fold and you're good to go. Okay, then through here, we got a little something like that. Okay. Yeah, and then I think once I blend in that fold nicely, that'll do it. See, I wasn't entirely happy with how the fingers looked when I first drew them. I think that they looked fine, but I didn't like the way that I drew the folds from the glove, so I was just like, you know what, let's not do it now. Let's save it for later. Let's trust the future self. That she'll be able to handle this, and you know what, I think I'm handling it great. I hope my past self is proud. Okay, we'll just get that little fold in there. And let's go do the next finger. Just a couple more left. I already think that they're looking a little more glove-like, so I am pleased. I am. Okay. Oh wait, that's the wrong color. There we go. Me forgetting that I had a slightly darker color in the fingertips, and wondering why my colors look so messed up. It's alright, it's all better now. It is. Actually, you know what, that was an unintentional fold, but I think it looks pretty good. So maybe I'll make it permanent. Yeah, I like this one. Hand has good ideas sometimes. I find it's good to listen to it sometimes. You know, sometimes the ideas are terrible, so don't take the brain out of the equation. But sometimes Hand does have fantastic ideas. And I find that my art is better when I capitalize on them. This is the wrong color again. There we go. I tend to jump around a lot, so that's why I hesitate a lot to use different colors for different parts of things, because I like just being able to press X to switch between my colors, and you know, it just handles it. It's great. I love it. It doesn't work when I'm working with more than 2 colors. There we go. Okay, I think that's good. Now this one. Last finger. I'm so glad I didn't have to draw the thumb. I don't normally have too much trouble with hands, but thumbs, they kind of get to me sometimes. They are shaped very weirdly. They got a lot going on. Okay, so for here, I kind of want this finger to be mostly in the back there. So I'll draw like this to make sure that happens. It is still kind of connected at the top. And then I have that little fold doing something like this. I kind of erased it there just now, but I do want it there, so I'll bring it back. There we go. There's a reason I drew it like that in the first place. Okay. Now just go up and connect this finger a little more nicely, and then get just a touch of where it kind of connects in here back in. This fold I gotta bring back a little bit more. Get that fold a little bit back in here. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I want it to come into the finger just a little. And actually, thinking about it, I should probably blend this fold just a little, because if I don't do that first, I might end up accidentally just getting rid of everything, or accidentally covering it up again like I've been doing for the past few minutes. And then I have to redraw it, and I can do that ad infinitum if I want, so let's actually blend in this side first, and then I'll go back and help out that little fold once I no longer have to worry about accidentally destroying it repeatedly. Let's not cause any more suffering than necessary for the little fold. Or more importantly, let's not cause any more suffering than necessary for me. Okay, now I can get the little fold. There we go. Okay. Now I just gotta get the bottom part of this finger, and we'll be good to go. I think that's roughly looking how I want, and then I'll bring the Chiron symbol back into being thread like everything else, and that'll do it for this hand. I kind of figured that the hands, well, no, that's right, I do have this dark color I want to splash in a couple of places, but I kind of figured that the hands wouldn't be too bad. I already liked how they were drawn, mostly. So it's just a matter of getting the last few things right there and getting everything nice and blended and pretty and soft. And all those nice little things. Okay. Okay. So I'm considering actually changing the shape just a little bit to acknowledge these folds that I'm putting in now. Right now it's just super flat on the end. So I might add a little bump there. Some of this I think is cast shadow from over here though, but there's clearly signs of little folds over here. So I might want to do something. Let's take a look after I get it blended just right. Okay, let's go take a look at this. Do I want to have slight bump here and here? Hell yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that was easy. All right, let's get that dark spot now. This color right in here. Got another one that I'm largely using for occlusion. Ooh. Gonna be fancy. I have to zoom in to make sure I get the right color. Okay. So up here. Just make sure that pinky is very clearly defined. I'll let it kind of spread out a little bit more at the bottom. Only at the bottom. I think the rest of it should be really, really hard. Very, very hard shadow. There we go. And I think I want a little bit through here. And a little bit through here. Just a little. Okay, there we go. I think that's good. How are we looking? Pretty good. Cool. Let's go get the symbol. What layer did I put that on anyway? Man, I don't know. Did I put it on the trim? I did. Okay. Well, that works. Okay. So, once again, I'm gonna start with just a little bit of blending of the shadow areas. Let it kind of match up. with where I have the shadow areas on the glove itself. So a little bit through there, a little bit through here. Okay, and now we just make it thread-like. Oh, no worries. Oh, don't worry. I mostly just kind of ramble to myself, unless somebody feels like talking. So anything that I say is normally rhetorical. I think the kind of content that I do attracts a lot of lurkers, so I'm not generally worried about it. I expect that most people will be lurking more than talking. So if there's something you want to talk about, then, you know, you're certainly welcome to. But otherwise, you don't really have to feel bad about lurking. It's what I generally expect. And I mean, strictly speaking, I could sit here in silence and just draw, but I think that's less entertaining than just saying whatever comes to mind. Mostly about what I happen to be doing and that kind of thing. Let's get just a little more texture through here. There we go. This guy's pretty small, so I'm not too concerned with getting this all, I don't know, as robust as I do like over here or whatever. It'll be more like the thin areas. I might actually clean this up a little bit. I think it's a little messy in a few areas. Okay, tiny highlights. Tiny, tiny highlights. And let's clean up over here just a little. I do prefer using the opacity brush here, but the downside is that sometimes it doesn't erase the edge very well. So you gotta help it out. Okay. So through here. Fortunately, you know, there's not quite as much going on there, so I can just keep it nice and simple. But I think that now looks like thread, like the stuff around it. So I'm gonna call that good for a first pass of that arm. So now we can go do the other arm. Arms are my art nemesis. They are the things that I find the hardest to draw. Fortunately, I've largely already got them drawn, so I just gotta finish it, I guess. But still. The days where I have to go and do arms, I'm just like, oh no, it's arm time. Save me. Okay. It's alright, I got this. Let's go blend this. Another case of it's like hands where I think what I have drawn is fine. So I just gotta clean it. Blend it in nice and soft. No. I changed my mind. Initially, I wanted this to be the softer side, but I have changed my mind. I now want this one to be the softer side. It took like 3 strokes for me to get it started to realize, no, I definitely have this backwards. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, I want that side to be fairly hard. The other side to be a little softer. No, not too soft, but a little softer. And I will worry about cast shadows in a minute. And I don't mind that I'm bleeding into the light just a little there. It's fine. It's totally fine. What, do I have the wrong color? Did I do another thing where I used a slightly darker color for the lower part? I don't think so. How strange. It's fine. Yeah, I just grabbed the wrong color. There we go. That's better. That happens sometimes. You grab the wrong pixel and suddenly your shade is a little bit too dark. Deeply unfortunate. Okay. Yeah, I think this looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Back here, I think I want it all to be quite blended. These ones, not so much, but back here, yes. I want it to be very strongly blended over here, too. So I'll get that going. I'm looking at this color and I'm like, huh, do I want to put some of this really dark color over here? I think I might, actually. Let's go ahead and finish up what I'm doing, though. I like thinking about these things. It's been such a long time since I've drawn something with a softer shading technique to it. Having to dredge up old memories and remember how to do it. Feels good, though. Have a lot more options for expressing texture and stuff. Makes me very happy. I'm very, very happy. Okay. Yeah. I think this is looking excellent here. I think I still want things to be a little softer over here, but I think this level of softness is about right for this fold here. This one should be a little harder, and then it goes over to here where it gets soft again. So let's fade this edge to just nothing. Here too. Needs to be just nothing. You don't even know it's there. Okay. And then I want to do the same thing over here. Just right over here. I want this to be a little bit harder, I think. I think I over-blended that just a bit. There we go. That's better. I like this. I think I want to soften it just a little bit more, though. Once again, I'm not really concerned that I'm brushing over the highlights right now. They're gonna come later, and I will make them look excellent as well when the time comes. You know, just when the time is right. Gotta start with these ones. As I mean, I mentioned before, I really like just being able to press the X button to switch colors. And I can't do that if I'm working with 3. So, this just makes my life so much easier. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Yes, I am very much okay with fan art of my model. I would be honored, honestly. I think it's wonderful. Let me see. I can pull up my current reference sheet here real quick. If you want all the details that you can't see on the stream here, because no one will ever see my lower body. It's a secret. I might have gotten a little bit too lazy to rig it. Yeah, no problem. Look, someday I will get my Twitter set up to have all this and like my art tag and stuff. I do have one. But it's only recently that I've had any amount of viewers. and even more recently where they actually talk. So, this is still new territory for me. It's very scary, but very exciting. I have plans. I have so many plans. It's gonna be great. Anyway, but you know, right now, it's just one picture at a time. I do like this picture, and I still really hope Katya likes it too. I do. But whenever I draw yeah, I guess I'll just say it. Anytime I draw a VTuber, because they kind of straddle the line between being an actual person and being a character. I've heard comparisons to, like, pro wrestling. And I can see it. So, I try to pay close attention to what I think the VTuber would actually like and how they want them to be portrayed. I did my best to try to make my design very easy to draw. And my hair is not exactly hair. It's more supposed to be just a very bright light. So not a lot of shenanigans with it. I am drawing too. Yeah, every Saturday I do an art stream, every Thursday it's programming, and every Friday it's game. And if I happen to gorilla stream during the week, it's whatever I feel like. Sometimes it's hard to pick. Because I'm just like, oh man, I kind of want to work on this more. Maybe I should stream it. Maybe I should do an extra stream. And I've thought that for probably like the past month or so. But then I start coding and I'm like, ooh, this is fun. I'm gonna keep doing it. And I don't. I am a personification of the Big Bang. We make things. So, the clouds are supposed to be like vaguely nebula, space dust based, but the hair, I just wanted light. That's all I was really going for. Light and maybe vaguely water-esque. So that's why it moves a little more heavy than you might expect for hair. And it's true. I am very rarely bored. As long as I have a computer. There are so many good things in life. It's like, how can you possibly be bored? So many cool things to do. Life is good. Alright, let's make these folds a little nicer. I think this one's a little over blended. I just want it to be soft near the end. But otherwise, I think it's a little over blended. Let's pull them out just a little more. And I think this is a little bit too wrinkly. So I'm gonna smooth it out just a little. And right here, maybe just a little less wrinkle there, and then something like this in the elbow. I mean, it's easy to fix. Just go do something cool. If you don't know what kind of cool stuff to do, ask what your 8-year-old self would have done. I mean, if you're a hobbyist and you don't really expect to make money off the hobby. It doesn't really matter what you do. Just do what makes you happy. It's just, I think a lot of people get into it to make money, and well, you know, that has certain expectations. As for me, I just like doing it, so I set aside a few days a week where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. And a lot of that is less for financial reasons. I'm pretty sure I will never make money streaming, and I'm okay with that. But it's more, it kind of keeps me moving. Because sometimes it can, with big projects like the stuff I like to do, it can be real easy to get lazy. But as long as I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I get enough done that I'll have something to talk about on stream on Thursday. Yeah, I'll just... It pushes me a little bit, and I find it very useful. And at least since I do an art stream every week, I know that I'm at least drawing once a week, even if I get caught up in other things, you know, like making my game. So it means that I'll just always at least be doing that. And I find that very nice. Yeah, that's definitely the dark color, right? Maybe it's not. It's not. Okay. I'll go ahead and do the cast shadow here then. Actually, no, I want to do the highlights first. And I can't blame 8-year-old you for wanting to go and find oil. That sounds fantastic. I think it's why most people get into it, because they think it'll be easy money. I think it's a little unfortunate. It's like, if it happens to me, fantastic. It means that I'll be able to make more cool art and stuff. And I won't have to worry about getting back into the workforce. And, you know, that does sound pretty great, but... I don't know. It'll be fine. I just like what I'm doing. Like I said, it keeps me moving, and I appreciate that. It's like, it'd be fantastic to be able to make money off of what I'm going to do anyway. Of course. I just always think it's funny. I've had a couple of people that say that I'm a professional artist, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I have not made a single cent off of my art ever. What would my 8-year-old self think of what I currently do? Would probably be mildly disappointed that I didn't take over the world, and would wonder why I'm not, considering all the problems in it, but no, too much work. But, I don't know, in terms of some of the other things. Yeah, I think my 8-year-old self would be pretty happy. Yeah. Exactly. That's why I say, you know, it keeps you moving. Because you have to think about, okay, what am I going to do for this week? And at least for me, it's like, even when I didn't have any fans, I didn't want to disappoint the fans. It never really bothered me that no one was there for a long time. I figured that there'd be a time where maybe, just maybe, there'd be people there. And I prepared for that, and now there are, and that's great. That's okay. I mean, I wouldn't be streaming it if I didn't want to be bothered by people. I can draw and talk at the same time. It's all good. It's like, you don't stream art to get a lot done and be productive. That, you know, you'd be better off in just absolute silence for that kind of thing. But, you know, it's fun to be able to share our art with people and talk about things. So, I stream it. And I know, from the beginning, I will not get as much done streaming as I would not streaming. The purpose of streaming is to be able to interact with the people that do decide to come by. So I'm always happy when people talk. It's new territory for me, and sometimes it's a little scary, but I think it's great. Not quite sure what you mean, Mr. O, but it's okay, you know? Just do the fun things. Do the things that are cool. There's lots of cool things in the world. Why waste time with things that aren't cool? God, I still need to play Planescape Torment. It's been on my list forever. I thought about streaming it a couple of times, but I don't like to self-insert into these things, and nobody knows anything about my OCs, so I decided maybe not, but it's okay, I'm still thinking about it. It is very much on my list of games to play, though. It's been there probably for the past 15 years, but someday I will play it. Okay, I think I'm getting the light on the sleeve just right. I like it. It's taken a little while, and I still need to smooth out the parts that are actually going to go through the light areas. But soon. I like it though. I think it looks great. See, this part of the suit gets to have highlights. I keep thinking this side would look better with a couple. I think they will. But it's not like super directly in the light like it is on this side. So I don't want to do it yet. I want to do some of that once there's more global light. But this one is going to be it'll be so brightly lit once the global light is there that it makes sense to do a few highlights now. It's like the light source is right there. It is right there. So I want to make sure that this one has more strong lighting than this arm, which is hidden behind the cape. Relative to the light source, at least. Have a slight edge there. But over here, things get soft again. I'm trying to think, were there any other games on my list that I really wanted to play at some point? I can't think of any. I think that might be the only one. Maybe someday I'll get to it. Oh, it's okay, I don't mind. Don't worry, I'm used to... I don't mind ESL people, I'm used to it. And, I mean, it's true. But it doesn't hurt to do nice things for people sometimes. What is this? Did a bit of shirt, escape containment or something? Yeah, okay. There we go. Let's see. Where's the layer? There it is. And I mean, it's true, but, you know, it doesn't hurt to do things for people sometimes, and sometimes they can be a motivator. I wouldn't stream if I didn't like it, but I'd be lying if I didn't say that making a point to make sure that I have something nice for every week didn't help encourage me to keep doing things. I see. I'm not familiar with it. I can look into it after stream. That's another thing I'm kind of happy with, that being able to make games is gradually becoming more accessible. Even if you don't want to learn programming, you can generally only do stuff with really simple engines like Game Maker or RPG Maker or something. But at least you can do something. I think it's pretty cool. It's true, the art style in that is quite good. I never did play it. I'd have to see whether it's the kind of game I think I'd enjoy. It is gorgeous, though. That is definitely true. Almost there, almost softened all the way. It's just, oh god. When you're going for a really dark color to a really light color, it can take a little bit to fully blend it. I might just take it easy and use the blur tool. I think that'll probably get the rest of it for me. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now we get to be lazy. I like making things. It's fun. My life has definitely gotten better since I've been drawing more. Or, you know, not even necessarily just drawing, just actually doing stuff. It's been a really good time. I'm really glad I started taking it a little bit more seriously. Even if I never make money off of it, I'm still really glad I did it. Sometimes I think people forget that you can do things other than contribute to the GDP. I'd like to say that I got into it for the joy of it. I mean, technically I did, but the reason I started taking it a little bit more seriously was because I was hoping to be able to do commissions and stuff. But at some point I realized, I don't know if I'd like that. Life is hard. That's why I tend to talk a lot about, you know, sometimes you can just do things because it's nice, as opposed to having to make money off of it, because there was a while where I was wondering if I should stop and focus on something else. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I just did the thing that I wanted to do. Okay, we'll put a little light through there, and that'll become soft later once I can use the other color. And then from here... Oh, I think it's good. I think it's fantastic. I just realized I didn't want to. It's not so much that I couldn't. I mean, at the time, I was having a really hard time finding customers. Because, I mean, I was relatively unknown, and to be fair, my art has gotten a lot better since then. But I don't know, I just kind of realized I didn't want to deal with it. It kind of sucks. And then I started looking had people that did, you know, commissions or YouTube or some of these other things professionally for their main source of income, and I just looked at what they had to do, and I was like, oh god, that sounds soul-crushing. I don't think I want to do that. Like, can you, yeah, it's, I remember I had a goal a while back. I was like, okay, I'm gonna post 2 speed paints a week. I'm going to just do 2 shorts a week. And that was way lower than the generally recommended 2 every day. But I figured I'd at least try that and see what I could do. No. I can't do it. I don't draw fast enough. And the stuff that I was producing, I was just not happy with. So now I'm just doing fun things with art. And you know what? It's great. I prefer it this way. Okay, that'll be blended out once I get to the lighter color there, which I believe is now, actually. Let's start blending this into the lighter color. I might need to go back and do a little bit of the darker color in some areas. I kind of feel it, like, right here, for instance, where I feel like that should be a little more thoroughly blended. But at least for now, let's do the first pass on the light areas here. Really start bringing the folds out. Letting their shape be known. Oh yeah, it's been great, because now I draw stuff I like, and stuff that makes me happy. And it feels good to draw again. And I'm still really glad that I did this one, because it had been a while since I've done something like this stylistically, and I think I kind of missed it. A lot of my art recently has had more hard edges and stuff, more CG inspired and that kind of thing. Or cell shaded, I should say. Cell shade, not CG. But yeah, more cell shaded inspired. And I do think it looks good. I'm gonna keep doing it. But I'm glad to have this option on the table too. Because I like it. I think this looks fantastic. I see. Ah. Yeah, it's like, admittedly, drawing stuff isn't quite as useful as things like, displays and stuff like that, but I don't know, I think it can still be nice. I think it can be nice, and I'm not really worried about where I am content-wise. I'm just doing what I want now, and I like it. It's fantastic. At some point I might have to compromise a little bit more, but, you know, not right now. I'm just gonna make my game, draw my things, and have a nice time. Let's get this part blended in now, because I think that this, once I get it going right, will really make things look good. Right now it's just so fuzzy and kind of bleh. But everything kind of starts there. Everything starts kind of bleh. It's my job to make it not bleh. That's basically the process. But oh man, do I love playing with light like this. Look at it go. This is not blended yet, but that's okay. I kind of wanted to get this spot. And I think what I do here will inform what I do over here a little bit, so I wanted to see what made this side look good. And this side's a little bit easier than the shenanigans I have to pull here. Okay. Yeah. And see, this is why I didn't want to do the cast shadows yet. Because I was like, wait, if I do those now, I'm probably just going to overwrite them once I get into blending that. But oh yeah, that looks great. I'm so happy right now. I knew this day would come when I could finally just get all these things that have been sitting in my head just back out into the canvas here. And now it's there. Remember when this was just an outline, kind of like this, on the suit? Hell yeah. Oh. That's unfortunate. Yeah. It's always a bit sad when people disappear like that. Yeah, precisely. I mean, that's why I'm just derping around now. And drawing things. Incidentally, it's also why I actually don't have a Discord, despite it potentially being useful for community building. Because then I'd have to moderate it, and that would get real complicated, considering that I do get a few regulars here that are clearly under the age of 18. I think some of them are as young as 13. So that would make moderating a Discord real complicated. I'm too scared. But for now, you know, I'm just having a good time drawing things. I like it a lot. And I'm really happy that people like to come. Come and watch. I think it's wonderful. That's why I keep doing it. And why I haven't stopped. I've actually been at this for more than 2 years now. Alright, so let's get this guy kind of doing what I wanted to do. I think this kind of triangular shape will be great. And I'm definitely going to have to go back into the shadows and make some of them a little bit less hard. It is! Look, you can be spiritual and non-religious. It's fine. Religion does not have the monopoly on spirituality. It's merely the most common vector for a lot of people. So I know exactly what you mean. I just want to draw some nice things and make a nice game and talk about game design. And that's what I do, so life is good. Alright, let's get this highlight blended in. Because now I kind of know what I want to do with it. And afterwards, I'm just gonna have to go muck with the shadows some more. Like, this one's way too hard now. There's things. But that's fine. There can be lots of things. I'll fix them all eventually. But I want to get this right because, oh man, does that light on the sleeve look amazing. I really, really like it. Highlights are the best. It's kind of nice doing a few things like this, because most of the time I don't get the awesome lighting stuff until near the end of the drawing. But I'm getting a little preview right now. I'm gonna make it look so much better closer to the end when I do the full global lighting. But I'm getting a little preview right now. That's pretty great. Alright, enjoy your nap. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. I see. That's okay. I haven't really felt like you've been very negative here. It's all good. I just use the blur tool there too. Because it's not blending properly. Okay, there he goes. Careful, careful. Just touch as light as a feather. Light as a feather. And it'll all come together. Okay. I have to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with all this, because this is in both light and dark areas, and so I might just have to color pick, and it's gonna be really inconvenient, but that's fine. I'll make it work. Okay, let's get this light in here first, though. Area that's just super in the shadows here. I'll just soften this guy up a lot. I actually kind of want to zoom in for that. Let's see. Well, mine's covered up, so... Hopefully that makes it a little easier. I did actually very explicitly design this to be very, very easy to draw, because I had a feeling, since I was going to do a lot of art streams, that I'd attract a lot of beginner artists. So I just wanted my design to be as easy to draw as possible. That's why I went for stuff like clouds, because you can draw clouds basically however the heck you want, and they'll look like clouds. I wanted to keep things simple for the cute little beginners. Okay, now we can get into some of these ones that are kind of in both light and dark areas. It does make me think I'm gonna have to do a lot of color picking, but such is life. Okay, and then I want this edge to be a bit harder. Here we go. And I guess I'll get the cast shadow here. I just don't want the edge to be quite that hard. There we go. Like, it needs to be a very hard edge, but not a hard round brush hard. Okay, and then I'll get this guy a little bit better. It's supposed to be like right on the edge of that shadow. So I do want it to blend a little. Just a little though. Let's get that edge hard. This one should be soft. I think it should actually be a little softer than it is right now. Yeah, I mean, I was a programmer before I was an artist, too. I learned how to draw after I knew how to program already. I mean, I guess strictly speaking, everyone draws when they're like 3, but I don't think that counts. Oh, congrats. It's always fun to hear how people kind of got started doing some of these things. It's like, I'm not familiar with that character. She was introduced after I stopped playing, and I don't think I can tolerate gacha anymore, but... It's still really cool to just hear what got people started. So you can do a lot of different things. For me, I wanted to draw my OCs, because I did a lot of role-playing. And I wanted to let people know what they looked like, and I was really bad at words. So, drawing them was just easier. That's a fantastic dream. I hope you're able to make so much cheese and cider. Sounds delicious. But as long as you can do it, you might as well. Personally, I think if I have to go into another shop that does agile methodology, I will throw my computer out the window. So... Let's see, is this highlight good? Almost. It's almost good. Let's just get a little bit further down there. Little bit more there. Let's make this edge a little harder. And there. I think all that's pretty good. So now I just gotta get this shadow to not be quite so... I don't know. Not quite so ugly. I said it before and I'll say it again. Don't make your stuff ugly. Never. Always make it appealing. Always. Okay, I want just a little more highlight through here. And then I can figure out how the heck I'm gonna blend a freaking triangle. Who knows, man? I always find that little triangular shapes like this tend to be a little bit harder than a lot of the other things around them. Let's try to get that transition nice and soft here. I might have to break out the blur tool just a little, just so I can get this part soft without affecting this area right here quite so much. Because I want that edge to be a little bit harder than the rest. So let's go do that, actually. I like to avoid using the blur tool. Because it kind of smears textures out, but if I want it to be pretty strong, like this, I think it's okay. There we go. That looks pretty good. Skeletons, huh? Makes sense. Okay. So back into the shadows here. I just kind of want to straighten them out a bit. I'm making this look way more cavernous than it should. This side, I think, should be a little softer. So let's soften that up just a little. Just a little. It'll be fine. I'm trying to think if I've ever drawn a skeleton. I think I have a couple of times, actually. It's not something I do often, though. Most of the time, I just draw girls. I like drawing girls. I don't know why. I don't think there's a particular reason. I just do. I just very much know it to be true. It's one of those kinds of things. Okay, and this one I think is also looking a little cavernous, so let's go ahead and make it just a little, put it a little more of a transition here, and a little bit of a hard edge over here, and then we'll let the light kind of bleed through over here. There we go. Something like that. And then once again, blend a little bit more there, let it all kind of fold together, and yeah, okay. We're getting there. I think this fold is still a little bit too hard. But I can get there. I mean, you never start out good at something, it's fine. I made the comment earlier of just, like, sometimes I feel like people feel like they have to know everything before they can do something. Before they can just jump in, and it's like, no, half the time I have no idea what I'm doing, and I just go, so... It's great. I highly recommend it. Be clueless. It's wonderful. Alright, there we go. I think that's a pretty good little sleeve there. Might be a little bit too blobby in a few areas, though. Stretch. Definitely need a stretch. So let's see. I think I would like to touch up here. I'm not quite satisfied. Yeah, I think that did it, actually. Cool. So, it is time to go do the threads, the trim. This one actually might require a couple of changes because I see that I don't have the highlights at exactly the same spots anymore. That's fine, I can do that. Let's see, you're gonna be the, like, plain yellow. This area is like all highlight, but I think you should be more plain. There we go. Like, I see rocks every day. My son likes to bring me lots and be like, oh man, it's a rock! It's very silly. He's very cute. Alright, let's turn these into tiny little threads at 100% so I don't get lost in the details. Because I totally will otherwise. That's way too strong. Be 50%. There we go. That's much better. Now we just turn this into a million threads again. And that'll be it for there. Then I can get up into this sleeve. Oh man. Arms. They always get me. That took way longer than I expected. Okay. Let's see, now we turn this to color dodge. 75%. And I pick up the light color. And we put in little highlights. You know, I'm kind of glad that I'm not doing all the trim all at once. I kind of like doing things in little chunks like this. Keeps my sanity intact a little bit more. Okay. And then it'll be time for a little highlights and shadows. So we'll go get the colors, set the brush to multiply, and here I'm allowed to zoom in. Let's see. I think well, it's hard to say which side the light's coming from at this point. It's kind of both. I'll put a few more highlights on areas that I think are going down into the folds that I don't quite have captured quite as well, like here, for example. I think I wanted to look a little deeper in there. Okay, and then highlight. Where are you, color dodge? There you are. Man, some of these are just so small. Just tiny, tiny little threads. Ready to catch just a little bit of light. Okay. Then normal, and here. I am an actual mom. I see. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It was just something I felt like doing. Oh, I did not have this set to erase. I just wanted to share what I was doing. Because I like what I do. And it's easier to do that on the internet. The people around me are way too normal to appreciate a proper anime girl, you know? So it's easier to find people that appreciate some of the stuff that I do out in the internet. I haven't told anyone that I know in real life that I'm a VTuber. I'm not really embarrassed about it, but I'm not sure if they'd have the sense to not divulge personal information. I have trust issues. There we go. Nice and thread-like. Let's go do the cuff. Ooh. Okay, so I did some kind of interesting stuff here. Well, I will start with just blending this. And I keep it simple. And then I'll worry about all the little shadows and stuff afterward. I want a little bit more light here. Let's get a little bit more light in there. Okay. And now to get this back part. I actually like the way the light is shining through that. I think that'll look really nice once I finish up what I'm doing here. I mean, look at that. Hell yeah. Just gotta get the shape right. But doesn't it just look so pleasant now, like the light is just shining through it? Well, I mean, I'm a girl. I know that there's girls out there that like this stuff. So it's like, I certainly know they're out there. And I mean, 90% of VTubers are girls, so at least the popular ones. I don't blame people for being a little nervous about it. I think we are a little cringe. I'm just okay with being a little cringe. I think it's a good way to be. You know, the old meme of maybe I am cringe, but I am free. And oh boy, do I feel free. I think I want to make this one just a little longer. Here we go. Oh yeah, that's right. I never did the cash out of there. I should do that. I totally forgot. Well, I guess it worked out since I did change the shape a little bit. Precisely. I'm working on it. It's hard. But the fact that I'm here means that I'm at least making some progress. Okay, here we go. That looks pretty good, I think. Now I can come back up here and finish those shadows. Actually, let's finish this first. I just realized there was a part I did not blend up there. Okay, now we can do the shadows. Actually, I think the shadows here are looking much better than the ones that were on the other cuff. So I think I'll have less work ahead of me on this side. Which is good, because I had way more work in getting the rest of the sleeve good. Let's let this guy kind of fade out a little bit. And let this guy be a little strong. Kind of fade out over here, I guess. I'll bring a few more lights over. Okay. And now we can do the white part. Here we go. I'm gonna start with the shadows this time. For unknown reasons. My brain feels like it, so let's go. So today I don't have my usual after-stream Saturday plans, so I'll probably just keep going until my kids come home again. We'll see how much I can get done here. Maybe I can even get the hand. That hand might be a little bit tricky, because I do have some areas that I deliberately kept dark to kind of act as lines. I'm pretty sure I can make it all work, though. I don't think it'll be that bad. I swear, when it comes to drawing so many things, it's never as bad as it seems like it's going to be. Brains like to exaggerate. They're very silly. Okay. There we go. So far, so good. Let's make them thread-like. I'll want this highlight color and the shadow color, and now we do thread things again. This is like, what, the 4th time this stream? I think everybody knows what I'm going to be doing to make things thread-like. But it must be done if I want that texture to exist. So we just gotta do it again and again and again and again. Such is art. Just over and over and over and over. At least it's easy. I'm sure the texture looks very complicated, but literally I just scribble and it works. So it's great. It's not hard work at all. Don't tell anyone. Let them think that I just worked really, really hard to get this right, and then it'll make me look really impressive. And actually, once again, I think I want to change the shape of this just a little. I kind of want this part to hold up just a little bit. Maybe this part down just a little bit. Probably should have done that first, but no, well. You know, again, such is life. Do I have any... here we are. Actually, I need the shadow color for that, which I already had, so that was silly. Let's lift this up a little bit into the fold, and... yeah, that's fine. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that looks a little more convincing. Okay, highlights. And my brush is so tiny that I have trouble seeing it sometimes. But it has to be tiny in order to make a texture like this. It just does. It just does. Okay, there we go. And now, the kind of 3D lighting. It'll be great. It's just gonna go. I really do think that this makes it look like 100 times better though, just the little bit of light that I put around the edge here, just to show that it goes inside of whatever surface it's on, instead of just kind of sitting there flat on top. The difference just looks huge to me. I'm never sure how many people notice some of these little things, but I sure do. And I get the feeling that they'd be the kind of thing that maybe you don't consciously see, but you certainly feel it. I feel that in animation a lot, where there's tons of tiny, tiny details that no one will notice any one individual detail. But it's gonna be... But as you put them all together, it becomes real clear. And I think it's really interesting. Just seeing some, like, before and after shots before they add some of these tiny little details, and it's... The way it adds up is just huge. It's amazing. And yet all of them were just so small and silly. Oh yeah, it's pretty hard stuff. I don't really have to do that quite so much with 2D, but there is still a lot that can go on. Okay. But here we go. Now we're roughing up the edge again. I'm gonna beat it into submission. It'll be great. And then it'll be time for a hand. But oh man, I think after this, if I can get that hand and maybe the mask done, I'm not sure about the mask since it has frills, that's basically going to be the upper body done. I guess I have to get this part too. I might not be able to get that part too. I guess it depends on how long I have before the tiny humans get home. But yeah, getting there. I might be able to do the first pass next week. Or next time I stream, depending if I feel like drawing during the week. I've had a little bit less desire to code lately, and I think part of it might just be that I am sick of working on the same thing. Because I've been struggling with this one little bit for a while here. But I have to get it done before I can do anything else at this point. I mean, if you don't feel like you belong there, find where you do. Easy. I'm not sure what kind of park you're talking about, so... I'm on the wrong layer. Let's go find the right layer. I don't remember where I put this. Like, yeah, what layer did I put this on? It's obviously going to be below the suit. Okay, so there's the mask. Is it just here? Yeah, there it is. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm actually going to start with some of the lights this time, because that's what I really feel like doing. Hello there, hardcore lamp. I'd be rather concerned if I saw a loaf of milk. I would be. I'd probably throw up, too. To be fair, I don't like cheese. Oh no. I knew that my opinions on cheese would get me in trouble someday. Glad to hear it. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been going pretty hard on my game project for, what, like 3 or 4 months at this point? I think it's only natural that I'd get a little bit sick of certain things. But who knows, you know, once I get going, this is kind of how it's been for a while now. Once I get going, I generally don't want to stop. And that's why I never end up streaming during the week. It's like I did occasionally, especially when I was doing some simple bug fixes. Because that was easy to stream, but this is like math that I only kind of understand. So it's really hard to stream it. And then I start working on it and I'm just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do the thing. And then I end up not doing art, so... Even though I'm just like, oh yeah, let's go do some more drawing. That sounds great. I get stuck in the code mines. And I'm just happy there for some reason. It's hard having too many things to do. There's too many interesting things in the world. Sometimes I wish the world could just be less interesting so I wouldn't have to choose. I could just do all the cool things. But no, the world has to be too cool. It has to be too cool for its own good. Leave me at a loss of what I want to do. Make me have to choose and decide. Truly, I lament mortality. Can't do everything. For shame. Congrats. Sounds like you did some good work. Okay, I don't want that fold to be quite that strong. So I'm gonna pare it back just a little, but there we go. That looks pretty good. This part should be a little darker, I think, and there we go. Get something like that. That looks pretty nice. Make that just a little softer here. And yeah, I think I can be happy with that. Let's see if I can make this line separating the main bulk of the hand from the part in the back look a little nicer. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's pretty okay. I think I can live with that. Let's blend in the fingers now. Nice. Congrats. Okay. So softly, 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 bring those fingers in. I don't want it to be quite as soft as the blending I did on the other hand on the fingers, because this one is more directly facing the light here, so I do want there to be a little bit of a transition, as opposed to just the very, very, very soft edge that I did there. I just want this to be mostly soft, like that. You can see the difference between like here and here. The transition isn't quite as stark. That's all I really want. And I don't mind that I'm bleeding into the shadows again, that's fine. I'll fix them. It's easier to blend like this. Okay. Just a little bit more. Nice and soft. Nice and gentle. There we go. I think that's sufficient there. Let's get some of these dark shadows now. I actually don't think I like the way that this one is rolling out. I think I'm just gonna cover that up. And I'll just put a slight edge here for 3D-ness. And I'll gradually start bringing out those hard edges between the fingers. Right now I think I have the gloves just a little bit too wrinkly. I think the wrinkle here is okay though. So I'll keep this one. It's not going to be quite as strong, but he'll still be there. Just gonna slowly blend it all together. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And then I just gotta bring in some little things like this. Make everything look a little more three-dimensional. I want it here too. Just a little bit different from how the other ones do it, since this one is mostly covered up. Okay. Blend this slightly. I think I'll even let some of it be this color instead. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And let's see. Let me grab this color again. And we'll start just kind of getting everything into its final state. This hand turned out to be a lot easier than I thought it would be, and frankly, I'm glad that I trusted myself. Nice. Yeah, I'm under the impression that there are a fair amount of parents out there. Some of them just don't disclose. You know, there's the whole thing where a lot of people don't like the idea that their Oshi might have a boyfriend. And then there's certain people that just don't really want to hear about relationships and stuff. And that's fine, but I'll probably always end up talking about my kids at least a little bit. I think there's probably more moms out there than disclose. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Let's see, I think I need to make this finger a little thicker. Isn't this the pinky, though? No, that's the index finger. Is the thumbs... Is it? I think this actually is the pinky. Oh, man. I think I might have drawn the hand backwards. Oh, no. I do that a lot, unfortunately. But I think this is pretty easy to fix. All I have to do is kind of trim right here. And fixing the mask will be easy too, because I have a mask for it. I do. I prepared for messing up silly things like this. Just tuck this finger in a little bit more, and I think that will solve most of the issue. So let's fix that. Yeah, that finger looks a little bit long and gangly, and that's what makes it okay that it's a bit thin. These pinkies are supposed to be a bit smaller than the other fingers. So, works out. I don't think it's that hard to understand personally. It's, it's like VTuber fan bases tend to be like a 95% male, if not more. Mine's a little bit more even, but I'm also really tiny, so it's kind of hard to say. And for some people, not having a relationship can be a little bit of a sore spot, and people watch entertainers to kind of get away from their life problems. And that's ultimately what VTubers are, you know? We're here to make people smile. And sometimes it can be hard to smile when people are shoving an insecurity that you have in your face. Not intentionally, of course. Not intentionally. I mean, there's a reason that I'm pretty okay with doing it. But it still doesn't always feel good. So I can understand why people wouldn't necessarily want to watch people that are a little bit more open about their relationships. Because, you know, they just don't want to hear about relationships. It's also why people might unfollow people that talk about politics. Because, you know, they don't watch VTubers to hear about politics. They watch VTubers to watch the cute anime girl do cute things. Or cool things, depending on your taste. So, I don't know, it makes sense to me. I can understand it. And I think it's okay. Obviously, the people that are bothered by such things won't watch me because I am very open about being married with children. So they probably wouldn't like that, since I do talk about it a fair amount. And I don't hold it against them in the slightest. Okay, but I think I'm about done with this hand. I do need to fix the mask on the mask. It's a bit funny to say, but do need to fix that. Let's make those fingers just a little bit nicer here. Kind of want to blend in this a little bit more too. I don't think the shadow should be quite that strong. Here, I think it's fine for it to be a little bit stronger, though. If anything, I probably don't want the light on this finger to be quite as strong in general. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, let's go fix the mask. I'll go ahead and select the hand here. And on anywhere there's not hand, I should be able to see the mask. Wonderful. See, nice and easy. I just gotta clean up a couple of edges here. Let's see, I don't quite like that tangent though. Basically, the edge of this pinky is sharing an edge with the mask and I don't like it. So I'm gonna make the pinky just a little bit longer. It doesn't have to be much longer. As long as it doesn't share that edge, it's fine. Okay. So now we fix the mask again. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. So now it's a little bit more clear what is finger and what is mask. Very, very important here. Very, very important here since they're both red. Gotta make sure it's clear where everything is. Yeah, I mean, you'll be happier if you're able to think that way. It is true. The people that can get mad about this kind of thing will probably find themselves more unhappy than the people that don't. At least in my opinion. But, you know, that's their problem. And people just have to decide if they want to deal with it or not. For me, I just decided I wanted to be able to talk about my family, so I do. I do it a lot. I'm glad to hear you're not unhappy. Yeah, precisely. Okay, so there we go. Those edges are still pretty hard, but they're just a little bit softer now. So now I can get into this side and kind of finish that off. Probably do want this to be a bit darker, so I'll go back over it with the dark color. I'll have fun. Okay. I'm gonna worry about 3D effects around the eyes and the back of the mask there in just a sec. I think I just want to take care of the cast shadows right now, because I think this part of the mask is actually about done. This part was real simple. And I think I still want these to resemble threads, even on the mask. I think I just want to keep that a consistent thing throughout the whole piece. Okay, just adding a few more dark areas because I can. I think it'll show the shape of the mask just a little bit better here. So, you know, it was a little bit flat in a few areas. But I think it's doing a little bit better now. Alright. Well, thanks for stopping by. If I'm not still here by the time you get back, still glad you were here. See you later. Okay. So we'll make this part nice and thin. There we go. I think it looks like she's still holding on to it. So I think that works just fine. So now I can kind of go back over some of those areas that I want to be dark or light. So here should definitely all be dark. And I think through the eye sockets here should all be light. And I see we have some frills escaping containment. Or no, that's part of the window, isn't it? Okay, if it's part of the window, I'm not going to worry about it. But if it's frills, I gotta worry about it. Let's see, are you frills? You're not Frills. You're part of the window. Perfect. I don't have to care then. Wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna hide these little translucent guys here for a bit. And I'm gonna go ahead, and we're back in Frill Hell, baby! Because you never really leave. I'm definitely gonna have to redraw the glitter. It's blurry. I don't like it. Okay. So I think most of the highlights in these frills are gonna be really soft, so I think I'm gonna start with them. And I think I can probably just blend them all out. Brain feels like starting here. This is another place where I'm just like, it's okay, self, trust the process. I know it looks kind of bad now, but trust me, this is gonna be fantastic. Trust. And here's the part where I make it look fantastic. Okay. This might be another area where I just go and use the blur tool. Because I think I just want this to, like, fade to nothing. So I'll get it started, and then after I get all of them, I'm just gonna run over it with the blur tool, I think. We're gonna bulldoze that texture, hell yeah! And it just won't exist anymore. It's fine. And you know, it's just as always, I'll gradually start getting things through here. Are these the last frills? Or pass one? Oh god, they are. I mean, I'm still gonna have to re-enter Frill Hell once I go through the next pass, but I'll take it. Last frills for now. There's gonna be even more on the next side, too. I'm dying, but that's okay. Frills look good. So it is what it is. Okay. There we go. Now it's starting to cooperate. Wonderful. On to the next one. So for now, I'm just gonna do the highlights until they're kind of blended out the way I want. And then I'll worry about all the shadows. I think it's a good way to be. That this way I can worry about having the big brush soft texture that I want here for the highlights. And then I can go over them again with small brush for details. I think it'll be easier that way. Alright, and I'll just go through one by one and make them all nice and smooth. It'll be great. What VTubers do I watch? Well, I'm drawing Katya here, so I do watch her quite a lot. I in general like Variance Project, particularly Katya and Leia. They go a little bit heavier on the LARP than some people. Leia a little bit less so than Katya. Katya seems more into the LARP, so she's fun. I like Pipkin Pippa, Rooney Ruse. Those are the big ones. You know, if I'm excluding their alts. Katya has a lot of alts, so... and I do watch some of her alts. I haven't really had time to watch a lot of VTubers lately. People keep telling me that I should check out Fuamoko because they also are big on the LARP. But I fear for their energy. I probably will at some point. I'm sure it sounds weird for me to say that I'm super into the LARP, given that I barely do much of the LARP myself. But that's more of a skill issue. So, it's like if anything gets me to rebrand, it's because I want to go harder on the LARP. But just due to the origins of, you know, where VTubers came from, they tend to go harder on idle energy. And I tend to prefer the ones that go hard on theater kid energy. So, Rooney oozes theater kid energy, so does Katya. Pippa not so much, but... Well, I'm glad you picked me. Truly, it's an honor. As for me, I am a VOD watcher. I almost never show up live. And I think even if I did, I'd be way too shy to actually talk. It's like, oh man, what if they said something back to me? Terrifying. I've thought about going into other small VTubers chats and chatting for a little while. I do occasionally, but, you know, like I said, oh my god, they're talking back. What do I do? What do I do? Look, people are scary, okay? People are terrifying. Okay, but the frills are starting to come out. I think I need to do a little bit more on some of these, but at the very least, the tops are starting to blend in, and it's all looking very bright and fancy. I think that these will look really, really good once I get some more of the global light on them. I still haven't quite decided how I'm going to handle the global light yet. I know how I'm going to handle the global shadow, but I haven't quite decided on the light yet. Okay. This one looks nice, though. I might need to kind of taper off those edges just a little bit, but I think this frill is actually looking, like, especially good compared to the others. That's nice. I look forward to touching up the shadows. I think the shadows will really bring things out here. I mean, the highlights I always feel like do the most to bring things out, but with as messy as I'm making the shadows right now, I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna look great once I do the shadows again. It's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be fantastic. So, at least on this first pass, I just got 2 more to go. Frills, man, they never stop. Yeah, I saw Kizuna a little bit too. I also had a friend that was super into Callie. But, like I said, Hololive has a lot of the idol energy, and I like the theater kid energy. So I didn't really get into them until I saw people with the strong theater kid energy. I do enjoy the theater kid energy greatly. It makes me very happy. I think it's why I can still watch Rooney sometimes, even though a lot of her content kind of filters me a bit. Goes a little bit too hard on the waifu-isms. But just the energy that she has and the high effort she brings into so much of her stuff makes her very fun for me despite that. Let's see, this edge is a little choppy. There we go. I know, in the end they're just people, and I mean, I obviously don't mind when people talk to me here. But nonetheless, the feelings, they come up. And I know everyone wants their viewers to talk. It's why you do it live as opposed to pre-recorded. If the people didn't want their viewers to talk, they would not do it live. Or if they did, they wouldn't be responding to chat at all. It's very much a me problem. It's fine. I am very shy. Sometimes I wonder how I managed to become a VTuber despite that. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about blending that. I think I can get that with the blur tool just fine. Let's just get a little bit more texture on the edges of some of these here. She does have a very cute voice, it's true. And she is extremely edgy. Well, less so now than she used to be, but... I still think she's pretty funny. And she's one where... There are some creators where I don't really feel like they care that much about what they're doing. But Pippa's one where she just oozes love for everything she does through her very core. There are some, especially like sponsored streams, where I don't quite feel it. But for most of what she does, it's like, no, she loves everything. She really, really loves VTubers, and she is so happy to be one. I get that from Katya, too. Where, whether they succeed or fail, there's just a certain love for content creation. Or it's like, for me, mine isn't necessarily in, like, video content creation. My particular love for things, it's more in, you know, my game design, my art, and that kind of stuff. Which is why I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to make 1 million shorts to advertise the channel and make it grow. But, nah, at least with those two specifically. There's just a certain something there that I don't always see, even with some of the bigger ones. It's hard to describe, but you can feel it. Feel it in your soul, baby. Yeah, Corona is one that has it too. And I fully admit that 90% of my streamer watching comes from watching Outer Wilds playthroughs, because I really like that game. So, I have watched probably a good 50 playthroughs So if there's a VTuber that played it, I have probably watched it. Unless it was very recent. Or they're like really, really obscure. So much so that the YouTube won't show me their playthrough. The algorithm denies me. Occasionally I'll watch them if I'm just curious about a specific game and they happen to play it. Curious about how they approach it and stuff, but unfortunately, well, I guess I can't say unfortunately, but unfortunately for what I'm looking for from when I do that, a lot of YouTubers don't talk about the game very much. So I don't really get to hear what they're thinking. And I'm just like, man, that's like half the reason I have to watch people play video games. Always makes me a little bit sad when I see people that, you know, don't care about video games, playing video games for content. I'm just like, man, go do the thing that you do care about. It's okay, that's just the inner game developer talking. I wish Katya would play less video games. Her non-gaming content is just so much better than her gaming content. Alright, so I think that's gonna be ready for the blur tool. Once I'm ready for the blur tool. But no, I kinda want to... Well, do I? I was gonna say maybe I should do the shadows first, but... Perhaps... I should blend. Let's find out. Oh god. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't mind. I guess, you know, it kind of depends on what you're talking about when you're talking about VTubers, but for the most part, yeah, it's a common interest. I think it's fine. After all, I'm drawing one, so... Okay. There we go. That's a bit better. Let's pull some of this down a bit. That looks so smeared right now, but that's perfect for what I want for that part of it. Now let's make it less smeared and bring the shadows back in. So satisfying. Get rid of all that smearing. That just looks terrible, I tell ya. Okay. So now I can start making these look a little more three-dimensional. Get the last of the shadows back in there. It'll be great. Kind of like her little finger accidentally like poking that frill, so I don't think that was intentional, but I think it looks good, so I'm gonna roll with it. Okay, so this one's gonna be a little special since its thickness is kind of facing the light direction. So I'm going to let it stay kind of bright up at the top. And we'll just gradually start blending that together. I think I want this edge to be a little bit harder on this side. I want it to be kind of soft over here. Or no, I have it backwards. I want it to be hard on this side and a little bit softer on this side. Oh, I have the wrong color now. There we go. All better. Okay. And slowly, I'll just start moving them in. There we go. Oh, but I hear signs of the tiny humans returning. So I should probably stop pretty soon here. I think I'll go ahead and finish off the frills. Well, frills might take a while. I guess that's the downside to continuing. When I know that soon there will be tiny humans. Okay, well, I can finish the frills next time. So I should stop here. I've got some tiny ones that are gonna need me. Alright. Well, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all next Thursday for some more programming, and maybe I'll even have the math done. We'll see. So hope to see you there.